One man's trash is another man's treasure. The album, the collection, the compilation. Green Day hit the skids commercially speaking around the dawn of the millennia, as their folk meets punk album Warning failed to match the success of the trio's breakout album Dookie and its follow-ups, leading the band to spend a significant amount of time in the studio before releasing another proper album. Turns out a lot happened in that 4-year gap from Warning to American Idiot, from recording the still unreleased or else stolen album Cigarettes and Valentines, to hitting the road as openers for the Pop Disaster Tour, and releasing this surprisingly robust compilation Shenanigans in 2002. Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and today I'm returning a favor by reviewing the underrated compilation album Shenanigans, released by Green Day in July 2002.
Guess my best excuse, I'm on the wagon again.
The lead up to its release saw the punk band playing second fiddle to headliners Blink-182 on the Pop Disaster Tour, as the younger pop-punk band had eclipsed Green Day's fading popularity thanks to their hella successful albums Enema of the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Do you love the audience or do you just love yourself?
The latter.
Maybe that insane tour was a low point commercially or even emotionally speaking for Green Day, but they easily blew Blink and Jimmy Eat World out of the water with their unrelenting stage presence night after night leading up to the summer release of Shenanigans. What I'm getting at is that uncharted waters can be great for established artists because it forces them out of a routine. Warning was Act 1, international super hits served as the interlude, with Shenanigans rounding out the trilogy of punk-adjacent experimentation. But wait, there's still one song missing, one that was only included on the earliest unmastered copies of Shenanigans, a track called DUI, also sung by another member of the trio.
Let's get drunk and go out driving. Let's see just how quickly we can go.
World's most dangerous drummer Trey Cool briefly became the world's most dangerous driver by writing DUI, a glowing endorsement of drinking and driving in the style of Trey's other comedic joke tracks Dominated Love Slave and All By Myself. But that effectively pulled the plug on what would have appeared directly after Espionage in the track listing. The final product is 14 songs in 33 minutes, making for a well-oiled but dysfunctional machine that needs the occasional kick in the ass to get back on the wagon. Green Day were evolving in a way that suited these leftovers really well. Some of them they were able to re-record, working as a bridge from their punk roots to the folksier, more adventurous sounds explored on Nimrod and Warning. B-sides don't really exist anymore because physical singles are obsolete, but for younger fans wanting to dive deeper into really any artist that has them, whether that be Green Day, the Beatles, Arctic Monkeys have a ton of great ones, it's a shallow grave just begging to be explored for buried treasure. Let's grab this rodeo by the horns, track by track, to uncover the origins of each song, then I'll rank them up on a tier list and give an overall score to Shenanigans. Track 1, Suffocate, originally appeared as the B-side to the Good Riddance single, also working as one of several bonus tracks on the Australian edition of Nimrod. Nightcrawling with Billy Joe Armstrong blasts off with a skate punk sound, although oddly enough, it reminds me a lot of 21st Century Breakdown, the album and the song from the trilogy 8th Avenue Serenade. Really dig this song's urgent but exasperated structure, with that angst carrying over to everything from the ripping power chords and the choppier drums that are more reminiscent of Dookie. While I do love this song and will put it in the A tier, I can see why it wasn't a fit for Nimrod. Desensitized is lifted from the same backyard garden, going from RIP headphone users with that glass shattering and screaming in the intro into an actually pretty killer song that deserved the increase in attention it got following its inclusion on Shenanigans. If you want to lose aux privileges with 99% of your friends, throw on the first 20 seconds of Desensitized and see how fast they rip the volume knob all the way down, or else kick you off the Bluetooth. It's a monster tune with some really aggressive guitars and pissed off lyrics. I'm a sucker for this really big sounding hook, and I'm going with S tier, the first of a few. You Lied also appeared on the Australian bonus bonus edition of Nimrod and was my proper introduction to the world of Green Day B-sides. I found it completely by accident when downloading something in the LimeWire era. Even after all these years, it's still in rotation. You just can't hate those bouncy guitars linking with Billy's own sarcastic vocal bravado. It's top tier Green Day. In fact, it's all the way to the top of the pack, S tier. Green Day's cover of Outsider by the Ramones was initially included as a B-side to the title track of the physical single of Warning. Frankly, it's a very plain song lyrically, but it's easy enough to sing along to. But Green Day really didn't change much here, to the point where it's essentially just Ramones' cover band, which is fine, but I wouldn't seek it out. Let's go C tier. Don't Wanna Fall in Love was originally intended for Dookie, only to have it axed and re-recorded a year later for its inclusion as a B-side to the Geek Stink Breath single. Repulsion never sounded more fiercely sweet. They kick up the BPM with a speedboat punk riff that sails away before you can blink, a very quick track that definitely proves itself a scrappy fighter. I am gonna put Love in the B tier though, that feels fair, nothing against the song, it's just really not a top favorite. Fictional hero James Bond inspired Espionage, a fully instrumental piece of spy punk that broke new ground for the trio. Most fans overlooked this special B-side as just another leftover, pointing to its use in the first Austin Powers movie soundtrack.
Crikey!
First off, that scene was incredible, and second, it's an incredibly underrated surf and spy groove fest that sees the trio strutting their weapons of choice full frontal with no vocals to hide behind, just some additional symphonic touches to match the shagadelic vibes, baby. It gets a little repetitive at 3.5 minutes long, but even if you skip it halfway in, I still think it's B-tier worthy. While back in the USA, we got this next song as the B-side to Geek Stink Breath, Japan scored I Want to Be On TV as an exclusive bonus track to Insomniac, which genre-wise is very fitting. It's a cover of the hardcore punk band Fang, with its parent album Insomniac being one of Green Day's heaviest. Mike Dirnt wrote the lyrics for the next track Scumbag, which is a B-side from Warning that would go on to appear in the 2001 teen comedy American Pie 2. Their bassist unloads an arsenal of anger at the scumbag in question, whoever that may be. It's pretty funny in hindsight to listen to. It's kind of a temper tantrum, but a really cool, lesser-known song that I'm putting up there in the A tier. The 90s movie soundtracks kept on calling, as the boys' cover of the Kinks' classic Tired of Waiting for You appeared in radio personality Howard Stern's autobiographical film Private Parts, despite having already been used as the B-side to their massive single Basket Case from Dookie.
Tired of waiting, tired of waiting for you.
Green Day's take on the original cranks the melancholy up a bit more, which is nice to hear them deviate from the source material a little bit more compared to the very straightforward Outsider. There's a ton of Nimrod leftovers on Shenanigans, which kinda proves my point that they were on an insane creative tear in that era, with Sick of Me and Rotting coming back to back as two of the best damn songs on this compilation. Sick of Me had its original home as the B-side to Hitchin' a Ride, while Rotting served as one of the four incredibly different B-sides when compared to the much more somber hit Good Riddance that it was paired with. Talk about not overstaying your welcome. Sick of Me bursts through the door and tears through your speakers like a self-hating hurricane, tearing open mental scars and leaving without a trace as you have to deal with the fallout. However, Rotting may be the most underrated Green Day song. If you were to put me on the spot right now, gun to my head and say, what's the most underrated Green Day song? I'm gonna say Rotting. The lyrics have these lines, I'm rotting inside, my flesh turns to dust, whisper, are you dying in my ear? That sounds excruciating, and it very vividly gets its point across. Both of these are S-tier songs to me, very different sounds, but back-to-back can't miss deep cuts. Do-Da-Da fittingly appeared on the CD single for Brain Stew Jaded from the Insomniac era, as well as, yet again, the Australian edition of Nimrod. But in fairness to the other songs here, this one's not on on the same level creatively, it doesn't stick out as memorable in their massive discography, and it makes sense that it was left off a proper album. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. I was shocked to find out On the Wagon was originally intended for Dookie, but obviously the song's laid-back western boots didn't march to the same punk rock drum, so it was instead relegated to B-side status, originally paired with 1994's Basket Case before finding its way onto Shenanigans. The chord progression is a lot of fun, the message is very blunt with that unique instrumental backing the mood shift, and honestly, the song has a nice swagger about it, by the time that we get to that guitar solo especially. You're going in the A tier. I think right there at the end of that row is a perfect fit. Finally, we've arrived at Ha Ha You're Dead, another nasty takedown of Arrival straight from the pissed off pen of someone other than Billy Joe Armstrong. There was only one Mike Dirnt, and this song is his, and you can tell it's Mike's doing because everything's cranked up to 11, and you really feel that in the heart of this slow death. We're gonna tack this right at the end of the row of S's. Alright, fine, I'll rank DUI. I know you're gonna ask if I don't, so let's do it. Okay, but whole album of Trey Cool acting like an absolute maniac with access to whatever instruments and bandmates in the studio he pleases. A full album of that. Win. Have another C. C for seriously not cool to drink and drive, which is why Billy pulled it from the album before, well, we know what happened the next year. Shenanigans goes down as a stealthy, slightly unsteady compilation that defied the odds with a strong pair of sea legs that refused to quit or not at the very least have fun with it. It's not top shelf Green Day on every pour, but it's not Russian Relay on shuffle either. Far from it. And with that being said, I'm gonna give Shenanigans a light 4 out of 5. Is this Green Day's overlooked gold mine or cobwebs not worth dusting? Let me know your take in the comments below, and don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Make sure you subscribe to my second channel Beyond ARTV as well, because that's where reviews are going to be going in the future. All of my Green Day videos are floating on screen, my Saviors review next to me, and thank you again for all the love and support. I'll see you next time.